Welcome to my new UFO podcast, the UFO Reality. Hopefully, over the coming weeks and months, together we'll tease out and unravel the truth from the disinformation and the misinformation, because there is no doubt that there is a UFO reality, and that hidden somewhere amongst the layers and layers of obfuscation and disinformation, we have a genuine reality. And we need to find where it is, to tease it out, to unravel it, and hopefully put together the truth of what is actually happening. So briefly, let's go back to 1945. The atomic bomb, Trinity site, the first tests, and the subsequent use of the atom bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I think there can be little doubt that this was a light bulb moment, a flash across the cosmos, possibly even into other dimensions, that lit up planet Earth like a light bulb, sent out the message that the benchmark had been reached and that this planet was now of interest. I think at that moment, non-human intelligences travelled here and decided at that point that we were worthy of study. They needed to find out who these people were, who this race of beings were, who humanity was, and did they pose a threat to their existence, whether it be at some point in the future, in the present. We just don't know. But hopefully together we can unravel this. The subject is no doubt very vast and very complicated. It's hidden, it's obfuscated. The waters are muddied by disinformation. There is no doubt that agents and stories and theories are deliberately put out onto the internet and through the media to hide the truth. The reality is probably hidden in plain sight, but we can't disseminate it, we can't identify it from the misinformation that's planted. There's no doubt that throughout the last 60 or 70 years, there have been incredible encounters, incredible incidents. Every one of them needs to be investigated and studied. In brief, just a few. Let's look at 1947, the classic, possibly the greatest UFO story of our modern era, the Roswell incident, July 1947, a lightning storm. One, possibly two craft are brought down during the lightning storm and land 70 miles north of the town of Roswell. A rancher, Matt Brazel, discovers the wreckage strewn across a vast acreage of the ranch, reports this to the local sheriff, who then reports it to the local Air Force base. The next day, the headlines in the Roswell paper state that the Air Force, the Army Air Force, has now captured and has in their possession a flying disc. A day later, this story is quashed and withdrawn once the data, the information is passed further up the chain of command. Roger Ramey, the general, the Air Force commander for the local area, he suppressed the whole incident and forced Major Jesse Marcel to issue a disclaimer stating that simply all they'd found was wreckage from a weather balloon. I mean, it's unbelievable to think that only 2 or 3 days later, it was wreckage from a flying disc strewn across hundreds of acres. And yet, 2 days later, this man is posing with a few pieces of a weather balloon. It's absolute nonsense. It's unbelievable. And yet, that was the narrative that we were told to believe. Another incident moving further forward into the 60s. We've got Malmstrom Air Force Base. The United States has scattered across the Great Plains various intercontinental ballistic missile silos. I mean, this is critical infrastructure. Remember, this is the Cold War. It's at its height. Tensions between the East and West are at their absolute, the most sensitive. And yet, here we are. We have an Air Force officer, Robert Salas, who reports that systematically, one by one, his intercontinental ballistic missiles are turned off. and that his topside sergeant reports hovering lights at the perimeter of the base. And it wasn't the only one. This happened on numerous Air Force bases and numerous missile silos. Something was happening. It's quite clear something was happening. Move a little bit further forward. I mean, the great incident of Rendlesham Forest. It's December 1980. For multiple nights on the largest nuclear Air Force base in Europe, lights are seen in the woods. Patrols are sent out. On the second night, the Deputy Base Commander, Colonel Holt, actually goes out on patrol and records on his mobile device what he sees. He sees something moving through the forest. He sees lights. And we later learn that two of his NCOs had physical contact. They suffered health issues. They saw hieroglyphs on the side of a craft. And yet this incident is buried. It's hidden. It's obfuscated. It barely made the news. And we're led to believe that it was the light from a nearby lighthouse. I mean, really? This man is the Deputy Base Commander of the largest nuclear Air Force base in Europe. And yet he mistakes the flashing of a lighthouse for a craft. I don't think that's feasible, do you? And then another incident that we need to think about. And I'm just picking out some highlights here as an introduction. We go to 1989. Robert Lazar. Now this man, he gained a position at Area 51, so he claims. He says he was introduced by one of the greatest physicists of our time, and that through this introduction, he gained an interview with Area 51 and subsequently worked on the S4 base. Edward Teller, his name nearly slipped my mind, but there it is, it's Edward Teller, the father of the hydrogen bomb, no less. This man allegedly, according to Bob Lazar, recommended him for this position. There can be no greater physicist currently at that time. Bob Lazar claims that he was flown to Area 51. He describes the flight, he describes the jet, he describes his briefing, he describes going into a room and left alone with documents to read through that described multiple species, that described various craft, and that subsequently he went on to work on the propulsion system of a captured or recovered, or as he even believed, archaeologically discovered non-human intelligent craft. Now, if this man is telling us the truth, it's the greatest story of our time. I mean, it's that simple. It changes everything. It's absolutely fundamental. Nothing is the same again. It proves intelligent life exists. It proves we're visited by non-human intelligence. It proves and demonstrates that there are forms of propulsion and energy and limitless energy and superluminal travel. Everything. It proves everything. And yet, his ideas and his story was ridiculed. He himself was ridiculed. It's simply the greatest story, if we can believe it. If we can believe it. And now, again, let's go a little bit further forward. You know, now we come to 2017. 2017, the New York Times publishes an article. Leslie Kane, Ralph Blumenthal. And the article quite clearly states that the United States Department of Defense admits that the UFOs are real. Now, they don't say what they are, but they quite clearly state there are things in our atmosphere that we don't know what they are. They don't know what they are. Now, if this isn't a national security issue, I don't know what is. I mean, let's just look at the few incidents. We've got discs crashing in Roswell. We've got nuclear intercontinental ballistic missiles being shut down. We've got workers who claim to have worked on exotic propulsion. We've got base commanders at nuclear air force bases stating on multiple nights that they were visited by craft that they couldn't explain. We've got the United States Department of Defense now admitting that there's something in our atmosphere that we just don't know what it is. There's too much evidence. There's too much evidence. There's something happening. There's absolutely something happening. And now we come almost at the present day. There have been 3 congressional hearings. 3 congressional hearings in open session. 2 of which I believe were under oath, where witnesses have come forward and sworn under oath that they have knowledge of crash retrieval, they have knowledge of exotic technology, they have knowledge of biologics. That's under oath in a congressional hearing. So, I think this is, without doubt, the greatest story of our time. And I think, hopefully, over the coming weeks and months, we'll tease out some information. We'll look at individual stories and cases. We'll try to put together the reality of what's happening. Because clearly, there is something happening. And I'm not saying that I know what it is, but I want to find out. And hopefully, we together over the coming months can look and study and weave together some idea of what's happening here. Thank you very much. I hope you'll come on this journey with me. I hope you'll subscribe and like to this podcast. It's just starting out, so any likes and subscriptions would be really appreciated. I'll try to post every week. This is the UFO Reality, and my name's Alex. Thank you very much. Have a great week.